A huge showing this afternoon in St. Paul to honor fallen firefighter Austin Smith. A procession of emergency responders made its way from Woodburn to St. Paul. Then thousands of people attended the memorial service at the St. Paul Rodeo grounds. Austin Smith was just 30 years old. Fox 12's Kendra Kent was at his memorial today and is live in St. Paul with a recap for us. Kendra?
Yeah, that's right. And Austin Smith died earlier this month tragically after responding to a barn fire. And at this memorial today, thousands of people got together to show their support for his family and friends and also to honor his life and service. From Life Flight above, a pipe band below, and a sea of thousands of faces. It was a final salute on a sunny Saturday from fellow first responders and the St. Paul community to fallen volunteer firefighter Austin Smith.
To know Austin was to love him.
Just 30 years old, Smith was a husband, a son, a brother, a nephew, an uncle, and a dear friend to so many. He loved beer, he loved boats, he loved fishing, he loved sports. But most of all, Smith loved his family, his friends, and St. Paul.
Austin had such a fantastic spirit for adventure, coupled with his unconditional loyalty to the people he loved.
It was clear he was St. Paul's golden boy, a remarkable athlete in his youth.
Austin was awarded state honors, was on a state championship football team.
As a young man, he was a respected community leader, not just a volunteer firefighter, but also a hop farmer about to open a new restaurant and an active president of a club dedicated to serving the local community.
He had many passions and was successful at all of them, which shows the level of dedication he had to our community.
The community now in mourning.
Austin, we love you. We miss you. Can't wait to see you again someday.
A heartbreaking goodbye as dispatch plays his final call out.
I'm calling firefighter Smith.
Austin Smith's watch is over, but his legacy will be to inspire others to volunteer, to give, and to be a good friend.
If he can do that, this world will be a better place, just like how Austin made St. Paul a better community.
And his family has asked that in lieu of flowers, people make donations to the St. Paul Fire District here behind me. A GoFundMe for the family has also raised more than $130,000 at this time. Reporting live tonight in St. Paul, Kendra Kent, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, Kendra, thank you. Of the thousands who attended, many were first responders from near and far. Fox 12's Drew Marine spoke with some who went to the memorial to show their support. And Drew, I imagine this is emotional for those first responders, even if they didn't know Smith personally.
Yeah, it sure was. I spoke with firefighters from Scio and Lake Oswego, and know some even traveled from California and Washington to be here today. Even though they didn't work with Austin Smith, they say all first responders are like a family. If you drove through St. Paul Saturday, it's clear just how big of an impact St. Paul firefighter Austin Smith had on the community. American flags lining the streets and one hanging over the fire department with 2 ladder trucks to honor his service to his hometown. First responders from near and far coming together as a second family to pay their respects to Smith after he tragically died fighting a barn fire last week. Most, if not all, of those first responders sporting a black line over their badges to signify this heartbreaking loss.
We see on the news on the East Coast or whatever, I mean, there's those 3 firefighters that just got lost, but you never know really, it never really sinks in until you see it here. And our community is only about 35 minutes from here. And it still is pretty close to home.
I've been in the fire service for about 25 years, and the fire service is truly a family, as you've seen around today.
2,500 people filled the stands at the St. Paul Rodeo Grounds, a place near and dear to the Smith family's heart. At least 1,000 of those in attendance were firefighters like Scott Wachter. He's a firefighter in Lake Oswego and says when one firefighter dies, it impacts departments all over.
A loss of something of this nature and caliber, it's not just a loss of a firefighter, but it's a loss of a family member, and it's a loss that will never ever be able to be filled again.
There was hardly a dry eye in the stands as his friends and family spoke. Life Flight did a flyover, and as they put out Smith's last call. Smith will be laid to rest at the St. Paul Catholic Cemetery. Live in St. Paul, Drew Marine, Fox 12 Oregon.